And we are now live. All right. So how's everybody doing today?
All right, I suppose.
All right. Well, thanks for hanging out with me, guys.
You're welcome.
Welcome everybody to another episode of We Should Hang Out More. My recorded stream of me talking with my friends because we're all busy and in our 30s and we need to hang out more, and this is a great way to do it. So today I've got Carissa.
Yo.
And Jason's faceless avatar.
Yeah, I'm here.
And so, yeah, let's talk about our random encounters. Let's talk about what we did in gaming. So, it's been a while since we've streamed, so I know we've been playing more Meet & Crawl Classics. So how are you liking that, Jason?
Yeah, the system really is enjoyable, as a player and the judge, as they call it, DM there. On it, setting up the I think with this one, creating monsters is the easiest because the stat blocks aren't big and you can just kind of fill in the blanks where you need to go with them. You can make them as cool and complicated or as simple as you want, and if you want to spice them up, you can just use charts. And I know I know Chris loves charts. Chris said you love charts too, right? I think.
Yeah, I do like charts a lot.
So I got a suggestion. Maybe y'all can help me. This is a breaking news. What if we made some kind of periodic table of element style chart with monster mutations?
If you think that they can be organized that way in a grid form, I would be interested.
Yeah. We could just make it a poster and we could sell it on Redbubble.
Sure.
It can also be a shirt coming soon. But yeah, no, and as a player, I think it's pretty fun, though. I think I will probably be more concerned with what y'all think as players of the system, even though it's been I think 2 weeks since we played.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I enjoy the setting. It's a really nice mix of Shadowrun and Warhammer, where you don't have to play as ginormous dickbags.
But Chris, I like being a ginormous dickbag.
I said you don't have to.
I'm just.
I
just want an excuse to say ginormous dickbag on air.
Yeah.
As I'm sure you did.
So, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So yeah, Mutant Chronicles. It's been pretty fun. And yeah, that last combat that we did was a lot of fun, and I kind of enjoyed how you managed to do the hacking thing on the fly, and have other people do non-combat kind of skill stuff.
Well, that's something that I've always it's a holdover from my chat days, because if I was running a big combat thing, there was always people, waiting for their turn. So I found that, it's beneficial not to run these big combats because narratively it doesn't make sense, on a storyline. In combat, people are going to be doing things, and this is one flaw, I guess, with all turn-based system games, is that things are going to be pretty, things are going to be more slow than they are in real time. And so you can use that narratively to give other players opportunity to affect the board state, so to speak, and give buffs in their own unique ways, or use the clock against the other antagonists.
That's cool.
Yeah, I always like doing non-combat options. I mean, I guess when I first started playing 5th Ed, one thing I liked about it was that I thought combat was easier to deal with. But now that I've played it enough, well, you know, I say it every time. I feel like it's almost too easy. It becomes a little bit rote. And I like having the options to explore other types of things I can do.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that D&D doesn't offer that, but I think maybe it's the setting of MC, but it just feels like this one has more opportunities for maybe the GM to write some of that stuff in.
Yeah, that's a definite thing in that there are supposed to be the 3 modes of play, the 3 pillars of play: combat, social, and exploration.
Mm-hmm.
And really, you only get, I mean, you have 1 supplemental book, or actually more now, 3 supplemental books to really help you run combat. So you get the Monster Manual, you got Volos, and you got Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes.
Yeah.
So those are 3 different options that you have versus, social encounters. How do you, the game is not built to run those.
Yeah, and I think that that's really unfortunate. Despite my being a fairly antisocial person in real life. I don't know.
I guess that's where the narrative, that's where it kind of falls on the DM to make, find ways to resolve that kind of stuff with more than just die rolls. And I think both an improv background can help with that, as well as, kind of playing other systems that are more narrative. It would help. I think one thing that 4th Ed was good with that people don't really talk about is that, those skill challenges from there, it wasn't explicitly stated, but you could cobble together something that was an alternative to combat for a narrative. Whether it was, just kind of having them fighting a big horde and that being something else, or again, trying to have a debate or something. Something that I would recommend is that in Requiem for Rome, which was a Roman Empire supplement for Vampire the Requiem, they had I don't know how to describe it. It was a combat system, but for debate and for speaking and so on. And you got stats derived from the other attributes like your willpower and so on. And you even had like debate styles, which you could use in lieu of fighting styles. And you got bonus like to your difficulties or your rolls based on basically how you were acting out. So even if you weren't the greatest speaker, if you said something or a good point or whatever, that could help it. And you were trying to sway a third party, so that's how it kind of stayed more neutral. You have maybe 2 players or a player and an NPC going against each other, but the way that you got around, like, oh, well, you can't convince my character that I'm wrong because I'm not going to think I'm wrong. The way you got around that is that it was always about in front of a crowd or something. So with settings and systems like that, you can figure a way to make things other than just combat. But again,
I think that's one thing where the 2d20 system has a little bit more of an advantage, is because there's so many things that you can roll on. Like you could say, oh, well, there's a pretty good chance that my character would think X, Y, or Z. But you got to roll and see if the dice say that your character acts in a manner that you think they would, or if they are uncharacteristic in this particular time.
Say that again?
Like Jason was saying, I don't remember exactly what he said because I was kind of thinking about what I was going to say while he was saying the thing that I was responding to. But he said, like, well, if your character says, no, my character wouldn't do whatever. My character would just think, what did you say, Jason?
like my character is not going to think that you're right, even if you say you make a good point. I still hate you.
That, like, if with, like, say, Mutant Chronicles, for instance, instead of your character just being able to respond that way, a lot of social interactions they have to roll for. And so, yeah, there might be a pretty good probability that your character is going to react a certain way. But you may get a bad die roll, and this is the one time that your character does act out of character or out of type.
How do you see that happening in Mutant Chronicles?
Or am I getting confused?
Well, I just don't.
Is Mutant Chronicles the one that? Yeah, Mutant Chronicles is the one that you have like your. I forget what it's called now, but you can. Like ones can be a crit, or you can have more.
And you can have the 20. The 20 is a bad thing.
But you're making more rolls for social type things.
Yeah, definitely for social type things. But
that's what I'm saying. So if you are making a roll for how your character is going to respond to something, then you can't just have this cop out of, oh, well, my character just does things, whatever. You may have to make a roll for it sometimes.
I mean, that I don't see how that's different though from the diplomacy check, the intimidation check.
I think that there's more. I mean, I could be wrong here. It just feels like there's more opportunities for you to have to make social checks. Maybe it's just how Jason's running the game. I don't know. But it seems to me that there's more opportunities to make social checks in Mutant Chronicles than like in a D&D. Do you get what I'm trying to say, Jay? I mean,
yeah, I think the opportunity comes from the NPCs, and
I mean, it might just
situations.
It may just be the way you're running both of the games, but that was my responding to the thing you were saying.
I mean, like with those skills, it could be there, but when you have again a system that just kind of boils down to making a roll, like to intimidate the orcs or to talk to the diplomat or whatever, again, it's hard to fill in those blanks and make it automatically say, oh, well, this changes. I think with Mutant Chronicles, since it's not like a quote unquote fantasy world, but again, it's somewhat more, I won't say realistic, but since it's a futuristic version of our real world, it's easy. And the only things you can't really reason with are the things that are tainted by the dark sin or the dark sign, the dark symmetry stuff. Everything else you can argue with on some level. And while there are some rules that you can make to convince things, it really falls upon the players to kind of think. And this comes from my kind of DM style, which you can feel free to say, criticize or, tell me anything about it. But again, it comes back to my chat experience of running games there. I never say no to someone asking if they can do something. And sometimes there'll be a roll.
Before.
Yeah, well, I'll say, I'm going to start saying no more to you if you don't know what's good for you. No, okay, I get what you're saying. But yet, most of the times, I try not to say no. Okay, I do know why I said no. I do remember.
So most of the times, you're not going to say no, huh?
Yeah. Okay. I say no if it's action and agency that the characters can do themselves. Like if it's, okay, hey, can I try and use this bone I found on the floor to wedge open a door? Okay, that's fine. That's fair. I say whatever. Make a roll. But if it's, can I call a tactical nuke to destroy the entire plot of the game? That's where I kind of say no.
You didn't let me roll for it.
Yeah, I know. Okay, tell me why I didn't let you roll for it.
Because that because that would take the drama away from the storyline. I get it. Oh, don't get me wrong.
I think there was more drama in you like wanting to do this and your character getting rejected on just nuking the whole thing. And I know you didn't want to really nuke the whole thing, but yeah. I think you learned something from there. Character growth.
I learned nothing from that because I don't.
That's fine. That's good. Okay,
Chris never learns anything. He plays the same character in every game, and he never learns.
Okay, let me.
Because I don't get to do these things that I want to do. Maybe if I got to do the things I want to do.
Okay, all right. Here's what I'm going to do. I want you to look in the book, which I've sent you a copy of, and you can just look in the rules for orbital strike.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can find it, next time I'll let you do one.
Okay.
Within reason. However, I think you have to understand that all in the Mutant Chronicles, you have this great big hate boner for all the megacores, rightfully so, because they are needlessly corrupt and how do I put this? Byzantine and all the inter-core dramas that go on. Why do you think that doesn't exist for the Brotherhood?
What?
Why do you think that there wouldn't be some kind of big Byzantine plotting and whatever for the Brotherhood? And I'm not... And yeah, okay, they're the goodest of the good guys in the thing, but they still have their own flaws. And from those flaws, there's going to be things that happen.
Yeah, without a doubt. But that's the thing is that, and that would be great to see those flaws happen, right? So that would actually be an interesting storyline.
So like when you're saying when this very faithful, devout sister of the Brotherhood calls for a tactical strike on the bad guys and gets rejected.
Yes.
There's probably a reason for that.
Absolutely.
Not just me saying no.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And now I want to know what that reason is and find the heretics and burn them out.
All right.
Inside.
Cool. That's fine. That's fine.
And see that's what I was saying though, is that that part, or why don't these people do what they're supposed to do?
But I'm also gonna say that a lot of times there is, when you're a hammer, all the problems look like nails.
Oh yeah.
And there's a lot of problems with that can occur in just pretty much any setting where you're going to have the quote-unquote good guys trying to do as effective good as possible.
Absolutely. And if that's also the lesson I learned is that there's a lot of collateral damage or something like that. That's also a lesson to learn.
Don't worry. You'll get to call in the nuke, but it will be for storyline purposes, and you will see what hath God wrought with such.
Yeah, but in fact, in every game, it's been like, well, I should have just smote the heretics sooner.
Okay. All right, I got disconnected. Sorry.
Yeah.
So in every game,
as I was saying, in basically every game, it's been like, oh, I should have, called heresy sooner and smote people, because then more innocents would have been saved. I've never not saved innocents by action.
Okay.
So that's been a consistent theme in your games, Jason. Also, is that by inaction, innocents are lost more often than not.
Well, don't worry.
Oh yeah,
I will. You'll get your nuke. And if I remember correctly, from a long time ago, maybe you don't. I know my memory's not great, but when we were playing the Gehenna game, I gave y'all a chance to nuke an antediluvian, and I said, okay, y'all have to come to some kind of consensus about it, and y'all did nuke the antediluvian.
Yeah,
but I forget who was for and who was against it in that regard. I think you would have been for it.
I think I was definitely for it.
Yeah. So I have given you the nuke.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
but and that was in the game where I wasn't the one who could call it in. I just voted for it.
All right. And so do you think that in other systems there's going to be, okay, just look up the rules for the nuke. And if there are calling in strikes, if there are rules there, we'll stick to them. If there are not rules, then I reserve the right as the game master to jury rig some kind of rule system for calling in strikes.
Oh, absolutely. I think it's actually going to be the leadership rules. That's a skill that none of us took.
Yeah.
But the fact that there's a leadership skill says something. So I'll read up I'll read up about the leadership rules. And if my character's not good at it right now, that's good. Now I've got a goal for it.
Yeah, that's how it is.
And it's one of those ones where, because in all the games I try to take the leadership feats. I try to take the cohorts. Like I've told you, my Fallout 2, all my favorite Fallout 2 characters had high charisma, and they took the extra follower feat. So I was just leading a 6-man fire team of everybody armed with heavy weapons, and I'd be in the back with a sniper rifle.
Because you're a coward.
No, because they had heavy weapons.
I'm just joking. I'm just messing with you.
Yeah. So yeah, but speaking about this, there's a few other things about that part. That I do appreciate that Mutant Chronicles has more social skills, but also I'm interested to see what's going to happen with the Dragon Heist book. See what they're going to do with that one. If that one might actually be a social pillar book, in the way that Xanathar's is kind of the exploration pillar.
Mm-hmm.
I think Dragon Heist might be a social pillar book. And of course, there is a thing that, and I've been watching a lot of Adam Kobo lately. And one of the things he talks about is, are you playing the right game for the right response? And Dungeons and Dragons is not really built to handle a lot of social encounters, and so you would have to bolt on extra rules about social hit points or something like that, or do, like you said, the skill challenges, and that just always feels clunky and kludgy. It feels like a cheap hack to add on, like, oh, every class rolls like a whatever based on their charisma modifier. That's how many social hit points they have, and you make a rhetorical attack or whatever. And the thing I don't like about social combat rules when they're like that is that they do tend to give bonuses, like you said, to if you're a good role player, which is really kind of some people are just better at improving these things. Some people have more skill at it, and it's not like when I say I swing my sword at the barbarian, I don't give you don't give me a sword and say, okay, show me how you swing this sword. I'll give you advantage if you show me how you swing the sword real good, right?
I mean, I think, okay, yeah, But I think role playing is definitely one way to get that advantage. But you can be a bad role player and bring up a good point in some kind of debate and still, I think, earn the advantage on it. Like, for example, let's say that there's a murder trial between. Quick, give me a murder. Give me a murder. The prosecution and defense.
Okay, there is a hotshot Armenian lawyer who's representing a football player who was accused of killing his wife, and then I forget who was on the defense team. Was it Marsha? I don't know. It was a Kardashian dad versus I forget who else.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Johnny Cochran.
Okay, so let's give kind of non good improvisers, things that could earn advantage or bonuses on the dice from both sides of the defense and the prosecution. So for the prosecution, let's say that over time the players had been seeking out evidence on their own, and they've kind of been keeping it concealed from the defense, which I get. Yeah, you're not supposed to do that in trials, like in real trials. I get that, but in RPG games, yeah, you can do it because it's dramatic. So let's just say the DM knows that they have this all this evidence, but they present it like in a unique way. If the person playing the prosecution is like, okay, I get the dagger that they used, but they don't know that I also have this. I have a spell that I cast on it to link it to who was attuned to it, or some kind of thing, or some magic, or or they don't know that I've run tests on it that found the DNA, and I know those DM. Those are the things that I told you I was doing with this stuff. And okay, well, yeah, here are the rolls that I made. Like, okay, cool, do it. And that could be something that, yeah, you gain an advantage to present this evidence, this new evidence, or this new spin on it. So that's one way that they could do it.
Yeah, and those ones I find fair. I just don't find it fair when the systems are like, okay, how do you do this kind of thing, and they don't give you rules for it.
Okay, like what system were you thinking of for that?
Well, like you were saying with the Roman Senate thing, or I mean, a lot of the White Wolf stuff. I've heard things about like Exalted, or things like that. Go ahead.
I mean, ultimately, that boils down to attribute plus stat, which you can always go with that, and give some situational modifiers, either -3 at most or +3 at most. But I guess that's where it just comes from like, again, just improvising something, and you don't have to improvise just what your character's saying. You can improvise what they do, actions. You can describe things, or like, let's say for the defense, you ask, there's an expert that the prosecution had, and the defense says, okay, well, why don't they ask them, they can think of reasons why my client wouldn't have done this. Point is,
Good.
There should be just, you can monologue and make good points, or you can detail actions, or you can bring up stuff that side quests that you've done to get extra dialogue options. Or I don't see why, the DM can't just also help the players, come up with these things like that. So if you say, hey, can I maybe make some kind of roll to see if I give a good defense of it or not, and the DM or the other players at the table who are improvisers, maybe they can help out and do that. But I don't know. I get your point. I just think that there's since this is something we do for fun, we can have fun with it. So that's what I think how people should see games and so on. Don't see it as limitations. See as how you can have fun with the thing, or what you can do with it.
I just hate like when you give a really impassioned speech and all this other stuff, and then everyone's like, oh, that's blah blah blah, and then you roll the dice, and then it's a 1 and a 2.
I guess in some senses like that, you shouldn't have to roll a dice for it. So if you make something that's really good, even if you're not acting or improvising it, even if you wrote like, if you're not a good improviser, if you have something written out that you've been writing, that's fine too. You know, you should, if it makes sense, you know, the DM should be fair. You know, I'm all about letting the DM maybe going easy on the players, but for the purpose of the story, who cares? You know, let them have fun. And
I mean, yeah, but then again, this is that whole thing of where I don't know how do you adjudicate something like that, and that this is where sometimes players' feelings get hurt when one player does something like that, and the DM says make a roll, and the other player does something like that, and the DM's like, yeah, you got it, and it's just because one day the DM was just not on his game or whatever, and he was busy texting on his phone when the player was making their speech or something, and so that's where it doesn't feel fair, and that's where your feelings can get hurt when you don't get the response that you want versus when you let it be adjudicated by the dice. Then it's not your fault, it's the dice's fault, and that it's a whole player character death kind of thing.
well, I guess it's just that you should. You got me. I don't know how to respond to that. Mostly because, again, I'm not a big conflict guy, and I don't like when players get into conflicts with one another. But I can see how it can happen. You need that unbiased adjudicator, which the DM sometimes can't be, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I mean we're all humans, and we're all tied to people, and it's a lot easier for us to either most of us do end up playing with people who we have very close relationships with in one way or another. We play with family members, and we play with significant others or spouses, and it's a lot easier to be less impartial towards them or feel that we can be more impartial to them because it's my wife. If I have to be harder on her than I am on everybody else, so I don't have the appearance of being unfair. But then she's all, why do you always make me roll, but you give everybody a free pass? And then now, you got problems. So that's one of the things. There are some game systems though that try to mitigate this. I know there's some that have like rock paper scissors style debate kind of mechanics or something like that. Like you can have like an emotional appeal, like the ethos pathos logos thing, that one beats the other beats the other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So and then you also roll the dice. I think if I remember right, whatchamacallit, the Divinity games have this rhetorical strategy. That there's a rock paper scissors type game in there, but based on what approach you want to do, that either gives you more or less damage that you do to them when you win. So you can either take an aggressive approach if you have more points in aggression, and if you win the rock paper scissors, you do more damage to your points.
Oh yeah, no, and that's something I'm not necessarily against the rock paper scissors thing, and I like it so much that I wish there was a way to implement it in other ways that are effective to systems that can supplement die rolls and whatever. But I do like the potential for a magic style, 5-way kind of pie chart of system of dealing with that, but who knows? Maybe that's something I can work on, or we can work on, or whatever.
What was the deal with the rock paper scissors? I just got back from the snack.
So we were talking about how, like in social situations, I was talking about how I don't like you just role play your way out of it.
Yeah.
If you just role play well enough, you get the magical pass of saying, "All right, you win at rhetoric," so I'm not going to make you roll.
Yeah.
But that's too impartial, or too unfair. Like even if even if we give every player the chance to work on things, we're all busy. So if we had to take care of our kids this week or something, we didn't have time to sit down and go through the Wikipedia thing about the Alderani Senate and figure out what a perfect answer to this debate would be.
Yeah.
We came to the table to roll dice. We didn't come to the table to, present our detailed rhetorical solutions.
Mm-hmm.
So I was saying that one of the solutions that we can do is there are some game systems, and this happens in the Divinity games, I know for sure. But I want to say there's some tabletops.
Is that the one that has like original sin?
Yeah.
Okay.
In that one, you choose rock, paper, scissors when you're in a social conflict.
Uh-huh.
And then based on other modifiers, I think that does more. It gets you more points to winning your conflict. But it comes down to like a rock, paper, scissors approach. And I was saying that could be like an ethos, pathos, logos kind of thing.
How do you mean?
Well, ethos is rock, logos is paper, and pathos is scissors or something like that, to where ethos or something along.
So it's not the rock paper scissors is not just to like win something. It's actually dictating what your character does.
Yeah, you say so if you're in a courtroom scene or trying to sway the crowds against another person or against somebody else, you say I use ethos to, or we say, all right, everybody's going to say what they're going to do, or say that they're going to attack, and then we'll reveal, and then I used ethos to make my claim. Well, I used logos to defeat your ethos, so to defend against your ethos. So you lose that round, and then we throw again, and I used pathos, but I used pathos to overcome your logos that time, or something like that.
Oh, okay.
And then you modify that with skills or something like that, so that way it feels more like not just one die roll, but it feels like an actual back and forth, battle.
Yeah.
And where it's abstracted, but I mean, like I said, combat is abstracted. We don't make players actually get up and grab an axe off the wall and say, "Show me how you cleave this orc."
Yeah.
So those are the kind of things that those are the kind of systems I'd like to see for like a social situation.
With the rock paper scissors thing, is there anything about people trying to, I guess, predict what the other person's going to do? Is there any? Have you encountered anything like that?
I've only seen it done in the Divinity games where it's a computer and the computer always cheats, I assume. So, but even still, that is a game theory kind of thing, to where it's semi-impartial.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I know, so I'm going to guess, Jason, you normally throw scissors first?
Maybe. I'm partial to rock.
I was gonna say, I think Jason throws rock, because I would, if I were trying to beat Jason, I would probably do paper, unless he knows that I'm probably gonna do paper, in which case I'm gonna do rock.
Yeah. And so that's one of those ones that, yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's one that can be, it's kind of a game theory kind of thing, to where, yeah, you can kind of like get in people's heads.
And I absolutely was asking it for game theory purposes, because
But
I want to take a game class.
Mm-hmm. But you could then, once you know, then it becomes an arms race, and so then it becomes a little bit fair.
Yeah.
Fair that way. So yeah, but that leads me into the topic of tonight's game. Speaking about the three pillars of gameplay, we're going to talk about the Pathfinder 2 playtest. Because in that game, Jason, you were speaking about your love of 4th edition skill challenges. I think Pathfinder 2 is really going to kind of take that model, because they have the 3 modes. They have the downtime mode, they have the exploration mode, and they have the combat mode. And the exploration mode, I think, is where you're going to do the social and exploration kind of things, and that's where you can use your skill checks and things to do things that are not in a 6-round or a 6-second round kind of time.
All right, well, that's cool. I'm glad that they're giving you more tools to make a interesting game and draw more players in.
And that's actually the kind of question I want to ask about this, because we were originally supposed to have Lucian on, but his laptop is not working, and so he's just watching, but not on the stream. Hi, Lucian. But Lucian and I are really excited about the game, but Jason, you're not as much.
Yeah, I was just saying in the pre-stream chats that I feel like it's a calculated move by Payzal to make something their own that doesn't rely upon rely upon D&D, because they're making a new system full of turns and every moves and action points, and they're doing this to step away and offer a more alternative product than 5th edition, which I think is giving them a run for their money. For the longest time, they were the kings of the castle, and now they might be going into 4th territory. I don't know.
Into what territory?
4E, I think you said.
Okay.
Yeah, 4th territory.
I think they absolutely are, and I think that's actually a good thing, because 4E, going back and revisiting it, was a very interesting game. It's just that it had a lot of bad things going for it. Mostly that it wasn't D&D, and they trashed everything that everybody liked about D&D to go into it. And they said, we're not going to keep publishing the old stuff. And
they're not? So they're... Oh, wait, no, this is Wizards, right?
That was Wizards.
Okay.
Yeah. And Lucian says he feels like it's going to be a merger between Pathfinder and 5e. And we'll see about that. And that's how much of a delay we're on, Lucian.
But yeah, like I said, I was also a little bothered by the fact that they're making the small books now and they're doing this new system. And I'm sure there'll be easy ways to convert stuff. But as someone who's wanted to, convert things between systems and settings and whatever, it's a hassle, and you ultimately don't want to do it. So on.
I've heard a lot of people talking about converting things from older editions and different systems into 5th edition. A lot of people are doing that. And I think it's just a matter of, how good you are at the system mastery, and how much time you really want to spend on it.
Yeah, but then I've found, with a lot of systems, I don't mind planning adventures, but I don't like making the things that are I like building traps, but I don't like making monsters, and I don't like converting monsters in between things. So I just I just wing it. Like most of the times when y'all have encountered something, I'm just winging a monster, and if it's being too difficult to y'all, I'll make it hit a little less hard. If it's being too easy, I'll bump up the hit points. But I haven't seen too much of the stat blocks for monsters in Pathfinder 2.0, so or any of these challenges. I guess I'll go through the various journal or the blogs about it to see if it's what I like. What I've seen, I don't necessarily mind. It's just that, again, I have a whole lot of things on my plate that I'd rather play, which is why I don't mind kind of stepping back and letting y'all be the ones who run it, or take the reins on understanding it and then teaching me of that stuff. Because, again, I have a lot of stuff, non D&D related things, or that I want to do, but who knows?
Yeah. Well, actually, let's take a look. It's in a book, or if not a book, it's on my screen. So yeah, we get like something like this is the monster stat block. This is your bear companion. Let me see if I have the other one up. No. Let me go back a page here to the thing. Going the wrong way. But the thing is that it is, but you're not very much a balancer. You don't like doing the balancing of the monsters to begin with, right, Jason?
Yeah, I mean, from a long time ago, I always go by the rule: you either make the monsters too easy and the players feel like they're just invincible, or you make things too hard and the players feel like things are hopeless. And I've found narratively that's been a good rule to go by.
Yeah.
I know it seems like it could be very unfair or very easy, but it's worked out for me so far.
Yeah, so here we are. Let's see. Yeah, here's our ogre.
Okay, what's TAC? Is that like touch AC?
Yeah, touch AC. Hang on, let me present this to everyone. Let me lock the screen down.
Why do the ogres look like gremlins?
Because they can.
I don't like that. They look just like furry orcs.
Yeah. Well, they got longer ears, so they're like bigger goblins.
But bigger goblins are bugbears.
Well, they look like possessed Furbies.
Yeah.
I like my ogres like Shrek and Shrek-related monsters.
Buglehead Shrek?
Yeah, what's wrong? Like, okay, maybe not Buglehead, but just the body type.
Okay, let me just switch over to the red cap then. Will that make you feel better?
Don't get me started on the fake, Chris.
All right.
Okay, what does the red cap look like? Do they have a drawing, or is it just...
No drawing on this one.
Okay, I'm going to Google red cap Pathfinder just for...
Well, you know what a red cap is.
I have an idea.
They wear a red cap, and they have iron boots.
Yeah, these guys look douchey enough.
Yeah. So
they're like the leprechaun if he was just more of an ass.
Yeah. So coming back in. But yeah, looking at the stat blocks, yeah, they seem like they're going to be easy enough to convert from one to the other. And I'm pretty sure that if somebody spent some time, they could write some Python code that could then just auto-generate the stats that you or comparable stats or stats within a standard deviation of that. That sounds like something that somebody who was learning Python could learn how to do.
Yeah, I don't know about that, Chris. Like, okay, here, I'm going to share the picture of the ogre. Okay, these are the ogres I like.
We'll put it on the screen.
Okay. All right, hold on. These are the ones I like. And you'll see that it's not too Shrekky.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, Chris, is you need to give him time to do his introduction, because that's him buying the time to put the thing. I don't know, Jay. That's pretty ridiculous.
Okay. Yeah, okay, so I know it looks like a big fat Conan. But what's wrong with Big Fat Conan? You look at this, you think, okay, this is an ogre. This is ogre type. You look at the other one, you think, that's a gremlin.
Well, maybe it's just a furry gremlin.
But furry gremlins are gremlins.
I mean,
Okay.
it's a winter ogre, Jason.
No, it's not. Winter ogres are fat. They wear fur. They don't have fur, they wear the fur.
All right. But anyways, so you can just reskin it then, and you don't have to use Wayne Reynolds art for anything.
Okay. It's not bad art, but it takes. Yes, I am ogre it with this. Okay.
I was actually going to make that exact joke.
But no, okay. You can put it back up, Chris. Put the ogre back up. It's fine.
Well, it's fine.
We'll talk about the ogre.
No, it's fine because I have a. Hang on 1 second. It's fine, everybody, because I got an ogre slaying knife.
Okay.
+9 against ogres.
See, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Look, I like the art. Okay, but just
no, wait. This is a bugbear. This is a bugbear.
Okay.
Okay,
See,
that makes sense.
That looks like a bugbear. That's fine. That's good. That's good bugbear art. It looks like a smellier.
That's not what I think of when I think of an ogre, but that makes more sense for a bugbear.
Yeah,
it looks like a smellier, stupider, bigger, fatter goblin.
Yeah. All right. So there, Jason. You see, you got yourself all worked up, and then we just got to read everything.
I don't see the point of that.
All right.
I don't know about Jason, but honestly, I couldn't see the caption until just right now because of the stuff on the bottom.
Yeah.
Because of seeing myself, basically.
Okay, I got a hot take. Another one. I think it's good bugbear art, and it looks like bugbears. But when I hear bugbear, I don't think that.
What do you think?
Here, I'm gonna try and look for it.
When I think bugbear, I just think of something that's annoying.
Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna.
It looks like he could be very annoying. He's the kind of guy that, you're gonna give a fake number to, and like the rejection hotline or something. Sorry, Chris, you're trying to rein it in, and we just keep.
Yeah. Okay. So I stopped presenting, and let me stop the. Yeah. So I can understand why you're nervous about this, Jason. Why you feel. I don't know. I guess you see it as a big giant cash grab by Paizo. All right, what do you got?
This is a official Dungeons and Dragons toy from the 80s. Look at that bugbear, and look at the goblin. Okay, so this bugbear is more, I would say, like I don't know what the hell that is, but I like how compared to the goblin, like they look like. The goblin is the smaller, whinier little piece of shit, and this is his cousin who beats things up for him. And he promises, hey, but I'm going to go ahead and if you beat this guy up for me, throw that rock at it. I'll go ahead and give you part of my sandwich. And the bugbear is like, oh, I did it. Can I have the sandwich? And the goblin's like, the sandwich ran away. And like, oh, okay, next time. And that's fine.
He kind of looks like a bad redux of a Gorn, actually.
I was thinking Gorn too, especially with the rock.
Okay, a furry Gorn.
Looks like he looks like a brown Gorn because Gorn I think was green, wasn't he?
Yeah.
But did he have? I don't remember. Did Gorn have scales?
Okay.
Yeah.
I think Gorn had scales, and this guy has fur. So maybe he's like a cousin of a Gorn.
Yeah.
I think that's how he's supposed to look in the monster manual. So yeah, I guess I can see how the one that is a Pathfinder is more related to this one. There was another specific one that I wanted to look for, like the Zanzer Tem dungeon. The the red box set from the mid 90s or early 90s. I think they had like bugbear ones in addition to goblins. I'll go through that and pull it up. But anyways, I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. That stuff was $50.
All right, Jason, let me pull you back. So let's stay back on this. So speaking about $50 in cash grabs, that's what you're worried that this all is.
Yeah, it's just a cash grab to buy more books, and I know this because I've seen this kind of writing on the wall with World of Darkness 2.0 or Chronicles of Darkness as it is now. If it does that, sure, the World of Darkness, Chronicles of Darkness stuff, much better, much cleaner, worked better, more coherent a rule set, no meta plot, so it was really make it your own thing. But the vampire people didn't want that. And that's why Vampire is coming back. And I have a fear that by trying to do this, the Pathfinder people are going to... everything isn't going to work as great as they are thinking it is.
Well, my question is, who do you think this game is for? Because I've seen this question posed on a few blogs too. Like, who's their target audience?
I think they're kind of making a play for somewhat like the kind of the tactical RPG gamers who are all about, for lack of a better term, I think it's more aimed at the gatekeepers of a system. And that's based on just, I guess, personal employee turnover that I've heard of at Pathfinder and just the way that things are going. Whereas, Wizards is going more towards this, inclusive, everybody can play and so on type thing. I think Pathfinder is trying to go for more of the purists and give them this new toy that they want the purists to take apart and embrace and so on. I base that on the fact that, I guess, nothing that is actually applicable to the game, just my feeling, which I will admit to being perfectly wrong about, since I'm wrong about a lot of things, like good bugbears.
I don't think you're actually wrong about this, and that's why I'm a little worried about this, is that it looks like they would be trying to go for the heavily tactical people, the heavily invested folks who want that, crunchy game. But there's other games that are probably more crunchy, things like Harn or Hackmaster or something like that, where there's actually a big difference between, Becca Corbin and a Volge and a, what are the other ones? All those weird polearm kind of things, right? Or they're, and the Dungeon Crawl Classic people have already gone. The OSR people are already going to the OSR stuff. So I'm worried that they're not targeting a big enough audience, and that worries me because the game is healthiest, the hobby is healthiest when there's a lot of.
So why do you worry this? Why do you worry about this?
Because
what proof do you have to
say again?
What proof do you have of this kind of thing, or is it just like me, a hunch?
Just a hunch. And like I'm saying, the game feels very 4th edition-ish. With this, with all the way that they're kind of changing things in the action economy of the game, and how there's going to be a lot of there's a lot more tactical choices in combat, it sounds like. But it's also going to be a little bit more abstracted in a lot of ways, and a little bit more and there's going to be this kind of this superheroic nature, and the way that the your character creation is going to be really modular. It reminds me a lot of what 4th edition was aiming for. The action economy, the move attack or something like that, and then there's going to be optimized ways to play and optimized optimal builds and things like that that will occur to do certain things. And that's what worries me a little bit, is that they're going to be going towards this 4th edition model. But there's not a big audience for 4th edition.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think that more and more people are going to leave it. And this is, again, I'll go deeper into why I think it is the way it is, and it has to do with, again, some chisme that I've gotten from reading about Pathfinder stuff. Like, I don't know if you knew, you probably knew who Jessica Price was. She was one of the former developers. She recently got fired from ArenaNet because people got mad about how she talked to people on Twitter, and that's varying degrees of BS and so on, but. She left Pathfinder because they kind of sided more with. There were some harassment issues at cons, and they sided more with the do nothing kind of crowd than taking more active steps to get rid of it. And I think that there's a culture there that's trying to forcibly push the game back into its old school, not for the benefit of authenticity with a lot of the gamers, but more with the authenticity with certain brands that is, again, gonna add more to the gatekeeping aspect. To contrast that with something like Dungeon Crawl Classics, Dungeon Crawl Classics kind of knows, hey, we just want to strip it down, make it simple enough, but still have that feel for old school role playing. I think they're just adding a lot of different parts. Like, they're putting a lot of ingredients in the RPG soup and hoping that everything will work together, which, it might, and it might be great, and it might be a good system, but again, I don't know, depending on what's what. But that's just me. I did find a good bugbear picture. I'm going to show it real quick. There we go, that guy.
That looks like an ogre to me.
Yeah, you're right. But it looks like a fat goblin.
But that's what you said that ogres should be.
Well, no, okay, maybe I did. But
ears, maybe not so much, but like
all the rest of it.
Yeah.
I guess I'm just hung up on the word bear, of bugbear. But that's just me.
Bugbears is a little annoying, like more irritating than dangerous. I mean, it could be dangerous, but if they're like, I don't know how to explain it. I don't think of them as particularly strong, intimidating characters. I think of them more like goblins.
Yeah, but that's just because, there's a lot of this weirdness in the naming conventions for D&D monsters, because it was basically Gary Gygax finding a thesaurus, Gary Gygax and what's his name, Tim Kask, and all those guys finding thesauruses and just like saying, we need another monster, so what's a synonym for goblin? And they just kind of...
Yeah. Like how I used to write papers before I knew better.
So, yeah, what do you think about this, Carissa? I mean, you've seen a little bit of the Paizo stuff.
Yeah.
Is it appealing to you?
Pathfinder 2?
Yeah.
I'd like to try it out. Sure. I mean, I always like to try out different systems. And I'm sorry, I was actually chatting with my mom, so I wasn't really in on the things you were saying about what we know about. Now, the very, very early stuff, and correct me if I'm wrong, the very, very early stuff that I heard about made it seem like it was going to be more, I guess, watered down, for lack of a better word, from the first Pathfinder. Are we still thinking that?
No, I'm not. I'm thinking it's going to be a little bit more interesting. there's going to be a lot more options that you have, because I think you're going to get feats at like every other level.
It's not more simplified then?
No, I think it's going to be. I think they simplified a lot of the pieces so they could make it a lot more modular.
Well, I mean, I do like modularity.
Yeah.
Um,
So,
and I do like crunchiness. So
yeah. So let me do another screen share here of some of the. I've got a cat on my arm, so I have to reach over him.
yeah, I have a cat. I have a cat butt on my computer.
Yeah. So let's take a look at like no, it's a. So yeah, like Ranger, they're gonna get a lot of feats, and they're gonna be there's a I think I forget if that's a focus action or this is a reaction kind of thing, to where yeah, trigger, you're about to roll perception for initiative. You audibly warn your allies, granting them a +1 circumstance bonus. You can identify a target. You get a +1 bonus. You can create snares for a ranger. Let's take a look at.
Right. I do remember that I was interested in some of the like alchemy type stuff. Um,
And it looks like there's going to be a lot more memory issue stuff, like the Quivering Palm monk ability. So it's going to be a 2-action ability. The A and the A's mean that it's going to be a 2-action thing. So it's got to have a somatic component and a verbal component. It's going to last 1 month.
wow.
That's not an item that is going to be simplified. That's going to be more bookkeeping to track.
Yeah.
So it looks like it's actually going to be kind of modular, but they are going for a more interesting kind of way of doing it. So it reminds me a lot of 4th edition.
Yeah. I mean, I'm willing to give it a go. 4th edition is the first edition that I played, and it wasn't easy, but you know, it's not like I've never experienced it before. So.
And yeah, 4th edition was a very, very interesting tactical game.
I just like 4th edition better for a board game than for a tabletop game. I just think it makes more sense as the box, you know, like the
yeah, that's exactly, you're exactly right. I mean, it was originally meant to have a native online client.
Yeah.
That would be the online map. So that's why they put everything in terms of squares. And you know, you didn't move 30 feet; you moved 6 squares.
And
you push and pull people 1 square or another square to give it that tactical feeling.
Yeah.
So that's why it works really well as a tactical game. It's just that it was kind of easy to or the wheels really came off in high level. I mean, I know the wheels come off in high level all the time anyways, but it was really easy to make combo decks if you knew what you were doing. And by combo decks, I mean like combo parties, to where you could stun lock the bad guy.
Yeah.
There wasn't a whole lot you could do that didn't feel like the DM was cheating. Because I did that to you a few times, Jason. I think, or at least once, I did that to one of your bad monster guys.
What'd you do?
That's Granoro?
Yeah, with Granoro, I locked down one of your bad monster guys.
Yeah, it's not a big deal.
Yeah, but I mean, I understand the frustration on that, and I like what 5th edition did with their legendary resistance to make the party blow through that first.
Yeah, that's fine. It's not a big deal.
Well,
No,
yeah.
for Pathfinder 2, I do think, yeah, like, because I looked at the thing for it is Alchemist, right? That class.
Yeah.
Yeah, I looked through that and about the potions and the poisons and stuff, and I think I'd be definitely interested in trying that out. It kind of, like I said in person the other day, kind of be what I wanted Doc Talks to be with the first edition of Pathfinder, but probably with more stuff and less guesswork, maybe.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm excited about it. But and so yeah, it's really something for me. And oh man, Paizo did such a good job with their world building. I keep coming back to that the world building makes sense. Like the world of Galarion is a planet. Like it was built to be a planet in a solar system in a Einsteinian universe. You know, this was not in a heliocentric worldview.
Yeah.
You know,
You see, I guess I hate to keep being like the contrarian of things, but I never got into the world of Pathfinder. I always kind of saw it as just, you know, I saw it as like a kit to use to make D&D that was like old D&D. But I mean, I'm going to give it a shot with the Kingmaker game that's coming out. You know, I'm kind of looking forward to that, like a lot. I kind of wish I'd kickstarted it, but oh well.
you know who's got a cat and did? This guy.
He does not like to be on the screen. Well, I'm gonna go check on Ava, and because she probably fell asleep, and if not, needs to get bathed for tomorrow.
Okay, guys. Well, I guess we'll keep talking about this again.
Hang out.
We'll try to get you on hopefully another day. Tomorrow I'm going to be doing a thing, and then Thursday I'm probably going to do another thing. Right. So yeah, I'll see if I can figure out how to stream from my tablet. Do a Google Hangout from that, because next week I will be at a convention, not Gen Con, unfortunately. But so I will be. Huh?
Sorry. I was just saying, do you have the app? There's a Hangouts app.
Okay. I'll see if that I can use that one to set up the live stream.
Yeah, I don't know how well it works for setting up, and I know I have used it on my phone. The only reason I didn't tonight is because I just need to charge it, but it works fine for, you know, just the participants. I don't know about setting it up. I've never tried that, but
yeah. So I'll look into that and see if I can make that happen. Maybe we'll make a stream happen from a hotel room or something.
okay.
But yeah, this is fun, guys. We should hang out more.
Hang out more.
I'm not gonna say it.
You don't have to. It's my show.
Yeah, I know.
All right. Bye, guys.
I'll just say it for you.